Hey everyone, TJ here, and welcome. Welcome to the very first episode of the Be the Bean podcast. And if you're watching this, well, I want to let you know that you're part of something special from day one. Shari Courtney and I, we're building something that we believe is something the world needs right now. A space where business and faith aren't separate, where you don't have to check your values at the door. And really it's about making that real connection, where the real connection matters more than the transactions that come from it. And so in this first episode, Shari and I, we're gonna go deep on the origin story, how Be the Bean started, why it matters now more than ever, and where we're headed, right? So you're gonna hear about the coffee bean principle that changed everything for us, and why we are creating faith-based communities across the entire country, what that actually looks like, what success looks like, and it's more than just the numbers. So here's what I want you to do right now. If you could, we please hit that subscribe button. We're dropping new episodes every Thursday, and we're gonna be really discussing some things that you don't really wanna miss. So leave a comment below, tell us where you're from, what resonated, all that good stuff, topics you want us to cover. And if this episode resonates and hits home, please share it with somebody that needs to hear it. So let's dive in. Here's my first ever conversation on the Be the Bean podcast with Shari Courtney. Shari Courtney. So here we are. This discussion has been a very long time coming, I think. But I wanted to start out with just right into it and ask you, who's Shari Courtney?
So you did jump right into it. So, gosh, yeah, I would agree with that, TJ. So this has been a long time in coming. We've been talking about this. You and I have actually been working on this project for a while. But who am I? So I am Shari Courtney. I am a people lover, a lover of people. Which is kind of a crazy thing to say, but that's truly who I am. And then I think that you couple that with my love for who the Lord is, Jesus Christ, and it kind of brings us to be the bean, flavor your world. Um, so yeah, I actually kind of came up with this concept through just that very thing of just really trying to pour into people. That's been my mission for many, many years is to pour into people, help people to step into their best God-given self, like who has God created you to be, to step into that. And so um, that might kind of describe me a little bit.
Yeah, I want to dive into that and Be the Bean. Well, we're gonna be talking about that for a long time coming. It's a mission that we're both on together. You started it. I saw very early on that it seemed like it was something that was very special, and luckily had the opportunity to be a part of it now, in the way that I am. But for you as an individual, I know we go back many years. I was counting the
Yeah, we
years,
do.
and it's close to 10 years now that we probably have known
Yeah.
each other, worked with each other in some capacity. But you have a tremendous track record and history of leadership, building teams, building organizations. And I want to set the foundation there because I think it's a great place to start leading into really what you are trying to accomplish at Be the Bean. So could you tell me just a little bit, a snapshot of what you've done professionally, and then we'll
Yeah.
make that transition into what Be the Bean actually is.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. That's great. So, really started out my career many years ago in the dental industry, um, and was working chairside for many years. Then got into sales and realized that that was really my sweet spot, because at that point in time, I knew dentistry and I knew people, and it worked well. That was many years ago. My husband was in the Air Force. We got moved to Virginia, and I completely switched roles and moved over to the medical field, and started in home health and hospice. And right away, just again, I think my love for people did incredibly well as a home health and hospice rep, and
Don't be so
And I think that
modest. I think
that's,
you were number one in the company for quite some time, weren't you?
I had a little run there for a minute. But what I always like to say that I was, in the field doing my thing, doing what I was really good at. And I always like to say I got plucked out of obscurity. And by a man by the name of Brendan Horan, and he saw my potential, and he began to just kind of pour into me. He was my champion, and I he put me into a management position, and I just started to kind of grow from there. But with that, I always wanted more. I always wanted not just a position, but when you think about believing in people and helping people to, step into their best selves, I decided to go and do a few other things. And I went and uh, got John Maxwell certified. So speaker, trainer, coach, did all of that. Went through the Power of Positive team with John Gordon, a big fan of John Gordon as well. And so that's a little bit of kind of how I came
Hmm.
came to be the bean, which was actually something that was planted many years ago, but it's just now coming to fruition.
Hmm.
So
You mentioned
yeah,
John Maxwell and the
yeah.
leadership and really searching for something more.
Hmm.
Where do you think that drive and desire came from within you, like as an individual? Have you always had it? Is it something like newer?
That's a good question. I think I've always had it, but especially when I got into some management position, right? I just always wanted people to step into their own potential. And that was the thing that I really loved about sales is I would always tell people that it doesn't matter in sales if you have a PhD or no degree, you can do whatever you set your mind to. And so in the bigger, broader sense, that's just what I believe about people. It has a lot to do with your belief system and who you surround yourself with. What are you reading? What are you listening to? Um, I don't think that we're put on this earth to be passive. I think that we all have a calling that the Lord is, sort of put before us. And how can I get people to that? I always thought that I wanted to be sort of a preacher slash motivational speaker. And so for me, be the bean kind of is really works those two together. Yeah.
And we've said be the bean, be the bean, be the bean many times. What is it? What is be the bean?
Yeah. Be the bean, flavor your world. So Be the Bean came about from a book by John Gordon. And many years ago, and you probably, TJ, I don't know if you were one of them at that time or not, but I've had my teams read that book. So it's called The Coffee Bean by John Gordon. It's a very small book, but the premise behind that book is powerful. And I loved it at the time. I've had my grandchildren read it. I've had everybody I could come in contact read it because I think that it does speak volumes and it's powerful if you can wrap your brain around it. But the premise is what happens if you put a carrot into boiling water? It gets soft. If you put an egg into boiling water, it gets hard. But if you put a coffee bean into boiling water, it can change the environment around it. And I, again, just loved that. And in July of this year, I stepped down from a position, and it was at that time that my creative flow started to happen again. And I knew that I wanted to do something to bring people together, to help people kind of change the world around them. And I wanted to do it with faith. And I just began a group, a networking group that is the pillars of that are based on faith, because I definitely want to bring the word of God into it, faith, community, networking, and leadership. So that's kind of what Be the Bean is. And so we're meeting regularly, monthly, to just encourage and grow and learn to lead and learn to be that bean and change that flavor or change the environment around you.
And so it started just in Fredericksburg, but within a short period of time, I'm correct me if I'm wrong, I think you've had several people from different areas of the country that were reaching out saying, oh wow, this is great. I want to have one of these by me in this area
Yeah,
and in this area. So tell
yeah,
me a little bit about
yeah.
that.
Yeah, I mean, I just started to talk about it. I would put it on LinkedIn or I put it on Facebook, and I was just kind of talking about what I was doing. And I just had people reaching out to me from all over, from Arizona, Texas, North Carolina, more people in Virginia. We do have another the bean that was started in Knoxville, Tennessee. Um, so just sort of all over, people are just like, this is amazing. This is a missing component of what is happening in our communities, and people just want to bring it to their community.
Hmm. How do, how does it differ, say, from like a BNI, from a like a senior resource networking group, or any other like networking group that's out there?
Yeah. Well, it's different in the sense that, I mean, the four pillars remain, but I always want to incorporate faith into it, because that is the basis of everything. And so it's different because I always deliver a mini message. A mini message is always delivered wherever, in Knoxville, wherever it's going on, there's a mini
And that's
message.
faith-based, right? Like a
Yeah.
Christian message.
Yeah, it's a faith-based message. I mean, we do have scripture in there. But it's a motivational thing too. It's an opportunity to think about you. How are you living your life? How are you giving back? Are you taking? Are you giving back? Um, uh, and then we break down into groups and we go a little deeper. It's not, we don't want to be topical. We don't want to just stay at surface level. I want people to go a little bit deeper. We've had a lot of opportunity to share contacts with each other and inspire, motivate, connect every single month, because we only meet once a month. But I love people to meet somebody new or just continue to reach out to that, whoever their contact person is, for the month, and keep them uplifted, keep them motivated. We do speed networking where we have different rounds of questions that are a little bit deeper questions. Um, and it gives you an opportunity to get to know somebody at a different level than you typically would at just an average networking event.
Yeah, and as an somewhat of an outsider looking in, coming in, although I don't feel like an outsider now, but
You're
going into
not.
the Be the Bean event, the structure that I witnessed is okay. Everyone kind of they come in, they talk a little bit with like the people that they already know, and some of the people that they don't. There's some exchange of like business contact. Oh, who are you? What do you do? That sort of thing as people are filtering in, like most networking events,
Yeah,
which is great. And I think like there needs to be that element of it. But once things start, there's like a switch that flips. And all of this stuff that was happening on the surface, right? We have these surface level conversations. It's like, oh, we can all let our guards down. We can take off the mask that we're wearing and actually connect with each other as human beings. And
yeah,
I've talked to so many different people that maybe I never would have spoken with, at these Be the Bean events where like we can kind of put our business face aside and have
right.
that genuine human connection. And I've experienced that it typically comes through sharing, like being a little bit more vulnerable than you might otherwise be in any
Yeah,
other networking
that's
event, because everyone is there. We're all kind of rooted in faith. So we have that as a
yeah,
value, which
yeah,
immediately to me creates a higher level of trust. And with that higher
yeah,
level of trust at least allowed me to feel like I can be a little bit more vulnerable with the people I'm speaking with, which created deeper connection. And from
right.
that, like business will come from that and has come from that
Hmm.
because of the deeper connections that we've formed. And
Yeah,
so to me, that's really what stood out and why I feel like what you're building is so special, because it goes beyond just like trading business cards and, oh, who can I refer to and who can refer to me, and then keeping, oh, we referred each other $1.5 million worth of business. Like that's happening, but it's secondary. It's like we're here because, well, we're followers of Christ, And
Right.
we truly
Yeah.
are trying to connect with each other, uplift each other, hold each other accountable to that higher standard. So that's what I've
Right.
noticed so far in coming in.
Yeah. And then a missing component to that is that sometimes people are walking in the door and maybe they don't have a deep seated faith. Maybe they haven't been to church in ever or years. And so those are the people that I want there too, right?
Mm,
Because you might not ever walk into a church, but you do get to walk into this and have the opportunity to meet some pretty amazing people, take your guard down, take that mask off, and learn about faith and how we get to, you know, present in this world. And so we have had people there that haven't been, they've said, wow, this is really great. I love this. I haven't been to church for years, but this is motivating me and inspiring me and
yeah.
growing me. So
Talk to me
I
about the
love that.
intentionality of the space you chose
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
that, and why
Um,
it's not held in like in a church space.
yeah, yeah. Well, I wanted to be super intentional about where that space was. What is the atmosphere surrounding it? I didn't want it to be, like a classroom or cold. So I actually kind of, and it is, again, it's a coffee bean. So it's a morning thing that we typically have been doing. And so it's spaced around having a cup of coffee and some conversation. So the atmosphere is super important to me. And so currently we're meeting in a hotel, and it's warm, it's inviting, it's
Very well
it's
lit.
yeah, it's well lit, coffee's good, so yeah,
Yeah. And I think some
I
of the
didn't want to.
discussions we've had was as to not, we want to be able to reach some of those people that might be on the fringe. It's like, oh, I haven't gone to
Right.
church in a couple of years. It's not that I'm like completely disconnected from my faith, but I might not feel as comfortable walking into, Zion Baptist Church or something, or wherever it is, but I would
Yeah,
feel comfortable
100%.
walking into a hotel lobby. Right.
Yeah,
And so it's not
exactly.
it's not preachy, it's not trying to force anything on anyone. We just need to be open to the
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, that is it. That's it. Because we're not gonna, we're not there to shove anything down your throat or make you believe a certain way. It's completely non-denominational. It's supposed to be warm and inviting where you get to learn maybe more about yourself, meet people, go a little deeper with people. You know, I think at one point we talked about rather than when you walk in somewhere and or you meet up with somebody and you say, how are you? What would be a little bit deeper? How is your soul today? How is
Mm,
your soul today? You know? So that kind of stuff where you just think a little bit differently than we're conditioned to think.
yeah. And I've admittedly said before, like even though I'm in sales and part of my job is to make small talk with people, I'm not a huge fan of small talk. Like the faster I can kind of go deeper and have those conversations, better. And granted, that's not going to be everyone I come in contact with, but I really enjoy those, and those they're meaningful to me. I learn something about somebody. We share a mutual experience that goes beyond. Oh, okay, yeah, you sell cards. I don't know.
Yeah. 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 And that's the intention behind it, right? That's the intention is just to um there's a void, I think, out there. I think that, there's several different groups that meet, whether it's the chamber or BNI or all of the things. But I think that for me, the missing component, I just want to incorporate all of those components into these meetings, right? So again, it's leadership, it's faith, it's community, it's networking, all of those things sort of wrapped into one. And people walk away just better.
Why is this more important now than ever?
Yeah, that's such a good question. And I think the validity, it's because we are in a place now, maybe we always have been, but our world is hard and dark, and the Christian faith is not winning. Um, on the surface, right? It just seems like well, people are not sticking up for who they are, what their beliefs are in the faith of the Christian faith. And I didn't want to be one of those people. I want to stand for who God, has called me to be, created me to be. He's gifted us all uniquely and differently. And I just think that we've got to start as Christians using our voice, um, and helping our fellow man to step into knowledge, truth.
Yeah, and you said something that I'm torn on because I agree where you said the Christian faith isn't winning, but I also feel like there's been a massive resurgence
Yeah,
recently.
I think you could be right.
And
I do
so
believe
it's
that.
two sides of the same coin almost. And I think for a
Yeah.
long time, people, I mean, culturally, it wasn't like, at least the way I perceived it, and I could be wrong. It wasn't cool, right? Or oh no, like I don't believe in that. Moving away from the faith and like the values and very much that type of culture that we were moving toward as a society. But I feel like over the past year that has shifted. I've
I
seen way more people be outspoken about their faith and really try. And I mean, to give you an example, um, one of my friend's coaches, he is a consultant for many large companies. Does a lot in the roofing industry. He went to a roof. It was called RoofCon. I think it was last week, and so it's a big roofing convention.
yeah.
And at that convention, he led a Christian service to like this entire convention. Like Ed Milet
Oh, that's
speaks at
awesome.
at this event. John Maxwell has spoken at this event. Um, and then they ended up baptizing like 150 people from this roofing event. And so it's
Wow.
like that sort of thing. Like, man,
Yeah. Yeah.
they're really making a big impact, and
Yeah.
it's starting to come more to the surface.
Yeah. That's amazing. That is amazing. I think that just to hear stuff like that just makes my heart swell. I think that you're completely onto something, where people are beginning, and that's partially why I started it when I did, because I knew that there was a movement for people they're stepping into their faith more. But I do believe that there's other things going on in this world that are big and powerful, and they're making some noise. When you think about Muslims praying in the streets of New York, or outside of Dallas, why wouldn't that be Christians standing up for who we are? Well, I that to me gets all over me, and I just want to be like, wow, this is a Christian country, and let me do my part to
Right.
to help people realize that who God is.
So on the mission, now here's how I want to frame this question for you. And feel free to take a breath and think about it for a little bit.
Okay.
Project out 12 months from now, you and I are sitting down and having this conversation again. What does success look like? You're looking back on this past year, the 12 months, what has happened in Be the Bean? Where are we headed? Where are we going?
Oh, oh, such a great question. Such a great question. So I think that success could look different, could look different across the board. But I would think that success to me would look like in even if we started, even though we have started small in just a couple of areas, that people are getting rooted, they're getting grounded, their faith is growing. Perhaps they'll go home and open their Bible. Perhaps they're going to treat their family differently, or their work environment differently. That is a win to me. If that's what happens from coming to Be the Bean, that's all I need. That's it. That's it. On a grander scale, let's grow this, right? Let's grow it to different areas of the country. Let's open something up in Texas, or Florida, or California, or wherever it is, so that it's not confined just to what's happening out of Fredericksburg, Virginia, or Knoxville, Tennessee, why can't we help people step into just the beauty of having a relationship with Christ and know their community and step into leadership and meet more people on a broader, bigger scale? That's what it would look like to me.
Mm. Yeah, it's not an either or, it's an and situation where I think at the heart of it, we've been discussing this a lot. It's like even if we just had one more person that we were able to reach, that, like you said, they
Yeah.
opened up their Bible, they downloaded the Bible 365 app, and they read
Yes.
that once, and they treated their family a little bit different. They treated themselves with a little bit of grace, right? And
Yes.
that sort of thing.
Yes.
Okay, great, mission accomplished. On a grander scale, and like on that grander
Right.
scale,
Right.
why wouldn't we try to have 10, 15, 20, 50 Be the Bean locations? And yeah, we want to do this sustainably in a way where we're maintaining the integrity and the
Yeah.
mission of what this actually is. But yeah, I don't see any reason why I wouldn't be able to hit that over time.
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that just, the conversation that you and I have had to have had back and forth, you that you make me think outside of the box. I think that just the conversation is always so good that I think that we help kind of grow each other. I've always said that from day one when we were shared an office. Gosh, I don't even know, 10 years ago. I don't even know how long
10
ago,
years
but
ago. Maybe I think it might have been eight.
we've always
Just
kind of
in all
spurred each
fairness,
other
but
on, but this is the best one. This is the best, right? Because you just having a relationship with Jesus, um, all the components of this, it just doesn't get any sweeter.
yeah. So our intention is to publish these episodes once a week. Just for those who have made it this far, one, thank you. I mean, spending 25, 30 minutes with us is fantastic. We're grateful for that. But our intention is this is episode one. It's going to get better and better each time. We're going to get better at what we do. I think part of the plan, and all things are subject to change, but is to bring guests on, right? And talk about their journey, their experience with Be the Bean, people that we feel like, would have some additional value to share with the listeners of this show, whether
Yeah.
it's from a business perspective, from a faith perspective, from a leadership perspective, from a family perspective. And so I can see really going down that path of just having really fun and engaging conversations with people that are believers in Christ and can share some wisdom, share some experience with the people that are listening. So that's one. And then, yeah, just being able to reach just one more person. I think when we start something like this, I mean, I've grown other podcasts before, but this one is to me is interesting because I feel like it has potential to do really big numbers, but that's not why I'm starting it. And I don't think
Right.
you either. I think same
No,
mission
that
as
was
Be the
never the
Bean,
intent.
which is if we can reach one more person, if
Yeah.
one person tunes in and listens and we have an impact on their lives, that would be enough for me. And I suspect it'd probably be enough for you too, Shari.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I would agree. Yeah.
What are you seeing
So
as like next steps or for the future for this particular platform here? Because I shared what I was thinking, but what else do you have to add? And so we can get listeners to come back to the next one and and keep listening.
yeah, no, I mean, I love that idea of, just having other people on the podcast. I mean, personally, for us, as we move forward with this, we're going to be just growing this across the board, right? So we're looking for people who want to be a part of it, who wants to sponsor this. Because, there is a little bit of a financial burden to, continue it on. So we need sponsors. We need people to come alongside of us, that, believe in the mission. So that's one of the things. You and I need to work on writing some SOPs. And I mean, there's just a lot of behind the scenes types of things that we need to do as we grow, because one of the things I don't want to happen is it just be, kind of thrown out there, you start your Be the Bean, but we've got we're working on the podcast, we've got the website, we're, going to start working on, a quarterly meeting that's in the evening, because right now we're meeting once a month in the
Right.
mornings, because I think we can reach a different audience. And so just a lot of things that are we're working on, and just growth,
Mm.
or that one more.
And so to wrap things up, I love all of that. What would be a next step? Is there a place where people should go now or do next? Like, what is the call to action? I'm a marketer at heart, but what is the call to action from here? What do we want people to do?
Yeah, we want people to reach out. We want people to get on the website, bethebean.org, and register, sign up to come to a meeting. mm, Let us know if you want to start something wherever you are. Um, Become a sponsor. That would be the call to action. And if you're listening and you come to these meetings on a regular basis, invite somebody, invite a friend.
Mm,
Um, yeah. So
invite a friend. And yes, definitely check us out. And if you're not in the Fredericksburg area or Knoxville area, as you heard, we have really big growth plans. But one of the things to help people get their feet wet too is the online community that we're building as well. And so, more details to come on that, but keep an eye out for the online community where we can connect nationally on the virtual side of things, and then also have our local in-person chapters. So, more to come.
yeah,
But
so good. So good. Thank you, TJ.
yeah. So until next time, we'll see you then. If you made it all the way to the end, thank you, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Awesome.